I will be recording this, so please make sure you put your information in the chat, your email account, and your contact information, so we can make sure that you can get a recap of what we're going to cover today, because we're getting ready to go into a whole lot. So hopefully you are prepared to take a lot of notes. And as I like to say, I'm getting ready to go to church on you. So again, welcome. Let's let a couple more folks come. As they're coming in, can we continue to introduce yourself and how'd you hear about us? Camille, please introduce yourself.
Hi, good morning. I'm sorry. My name is Camille. I just logged on and I am the owner of Fenton Mason Management. I'm sorry, I have my family here. I'm trying to get them to go to the other rooms. I apologize.
Okay.
I'm happy to be here.
Okay. And how'd you hear about us?
I took a course with Serena, and on one of her courses, she had a conversation. It was like a webinar, I think, and someone had mentioned GPI on there, and so I researched you, and then I watched like 12 of your lectures and signed up. So
Okay. Well, I'm getting ready to break it down for everyone in layman's language, and hopefully I'll be able to understand how everyone can play in this space. This is my passion. This is my heart of what I do is create generational wealth, helping our communities to understand the power and what we have within. With that being said, I am going to share my calendar, I'm at screen, and we're going to jump right into the PowerPoint. This can be interactive. I will be asking you guys to respond to certain questions. I want this just to be comfortable. Good morning again. Good morning. Good morning again. My name is Paula Watts, and welcome to Government Procurement Innovators, better known as GPI. I always like to start out with where we are, and especially since this is an election year, and understanding what is currently going on as it relates to federal contracting. This is an executive order that the president issued at the end of 2023, requiring that these agencies again level up the playing fields, meaning he's expecting them to get increase their awards to minority-owned businesses, but more specifically to Black-owned households as well as the Latino community. So for me, what they're doing and what I'm seeing as I'm out there, they're really are trying to make it more friendlier for small businesses to play in this space, just by some of the industry days that I've attended. I like to always open up with who I am. For those of you who do not know me, my name is Paula Watts. I am the founder and CEO of GPI. My history includes me starting out in government contracting. Originally, I'm from Asheville, North Carolina. After college, I went to DC, and my first job was with a company that was a part of the 8A program. By a show of hands, can you tell me if any of you heard of the 8A program? We're going to go into a little bit more depth for those who may not have heard of that program. So my first job was with a company that was a part of that program doing event planning. I ended up attaching myself to one contract that was a part of that program. After going through 6 companies, I ended up starting my first business in 1996. And the first year in business, I was able to receive my first $1 million contract. Second year, I applied into the 8A program, received another $3 million contract, and I consistently began to win contracts where I grew it to close to $15 million in contracts and almost 40 employees. I had no clue what I was doing, and that's where the challenge began. Can I get someone to mute their phone or computer? I'm getting feedback. So, and after 5 years in growing that business to close to $15 million in contracts, I had 2 business partners. One who felt like he could run all his personal expenses through the business. I had my assistant to do an audit in his account. He transferred in the elevator.
If you want to go in the car and listen, but open.
I need everyone to mute their phones, the computer. I'm getting feedback.
Miss Paula, you're muted. I can't hear you.
Thank you. Yes, I was saying, after we got at that peak, had 40 employees, the partner ended up terminating the partner. He conspired with 2 employees to sue me and the other partner for sexual harassment. After 2 years of attorney fees, $125,000 in attorney fees, $100,000 to buy him out, I no longer could afford to keep the business. So I closed the business in 2005, and that really pushed me to my passion, especially for our communities, because I realized no one was training us on how to become a CEO. So I volunteered for 2 years as a SCORE counselor, which is a resource partner for SBA. After 2 years volunteering, I applied for a position with SBA, and my job at SBA was to service the businesses that was of the 8A program. After 4 years in Philadelphia, that's where I started. I relocated here to Atlanta in 2012 to be closer to North Carolina. And while I was here in this district office, they required that we become certified as a contract specialist. And for me, that was the missing piece, meaning I'd run a business for 10 years, grew up in government contracting, worked for SBA 7 years, but I wasn't quite sure how the agencies put together solicitations for you to compete on. So for me, that made completed the circle. I've trained more than 10,000 businesses on marketing to the federal government and have assisted small businesses to win over 1.5 billion in contracts across various industries. I've self-published a book called That's Crazy, Recognize Crazy and Run. The names have been changed to protect the innocent, but it sort of kind of dialogues the experience I had in running that first business. So when people are trying to get into this space, the challenges that I saw specifically while I was at SBA is that people will come in and I do the workshop. It's great information. Everybody's gung-ho, or SBA will send you to their resource partners. And what I realized is no one is understanding how to connect the dots. And it's the same thing with these federal agencies. Unless you worked on the inside of SBA, nobody understands their operations. So when I'm looking at some of the challenges for small businesses entering into this space, number one is understanding government language. Number two, understanding the government processes, understanding what certifications am I eligible for. Once I determine that, what documentations or what do I need to complete these applications? And also understanding that the federal government, they don't talk to each other. So these websites aren't connected. So there's no strategy or no formula in training small businesses. So for me, that's what helped me to start GPI. GPI was started primarily on my background and my experiences. And it was based on lessons learned in that first business. The first year in business, after receiving that $1 million contract, I started marketing again the business. And my mentor asked me why was I pigeonholing myself? And when he said that, it made sense based on the 6 companies that I've gone through, and I looked at their business model. So the first thing that I did was change my business model. Most small businesses start their business on their skill set. Managing a business has nothing to do with their skill set. So once I realized that, and after receiving that $1 million contract, I'm managing staff, I created divisions. I had an event planning division, I had an IT division, I had a publication division, and I had a database division. And I'm just now subbing out. Starting a business and managing a business has nothing to do with your skill set. So in our first module of our program, we're helping you guys to shift your mindset. And what I find is that's the biggest challenge for small businesses entering into this space. Helping you to understand that you don't have to know anything about that contract to win. Your goal as the CEO is to find the subject matter experts that have the skill set to perform on that contract. Can I get an amen from the church?
Amen.
Amen.
Also, understanding in this space, collaboration is key. All of SBA's programs and all of these contracts really require that you team with others. So when I look at the number of people that are currently online right now, that's a government contract to me. If we collectively pool our resources and our skill sets together, everybody can get a piece of the pie. It's understanding we're more powerful collectively and working together than trying to go after this by ourselves. Can I get another amen from the church?
Amen.
You must have the infrastructure. What do I mean by infrastructure, someone? Anybody? Y'all heard?
Foundation,
Huh?
the foundation for your business.
And what does the foundation look like? What does that mean?
No idea.
The team,
Huh?
does infrastructure mean that you must have the team and the capacity to do, to handle these projects?
No, ma'am. Before we even get to the contracts and
Would it be systems in place?
the systems in place,
Yeah.
accounting. Y'all
Yeah.
just heard that I got sued. Attorneys,
A lawyer, accountant, marketing.
making sure that you are covering and protecting yourself. I did not protect myself. So anyone that's currently in business, and even when you get your first contract, before you get your first contract, you need to make sure that you have employment, practice, liability insurance. Employment, practice, liability insurance. That's insurance that's outside of your general business policy, and you have to request it. Had I had that insurance, that would have covered the lawsuit, that would have covered the buyout. So understanding how to protect yourself. So when you're looking at federal contracts, does anyone know when the government's fiscal year begins and ends?
I think it begins October 1st and ends end of September.
Very good. You're correct. October 1st through September 30th. So for you as a small business, it's being strategic and understanding how the government is structured, understanding the budget. So in our first session of the budget, we don't direct you to go and get everything registered in SAM to compete. Our whole goal is to teach you the process. And the process is starting out with the budget, understanding what's in the budget and how these agencies are spending and where they're going to spend it for that fiscal year. But what generally happens is before that budget is passed, everyone is operating on what they call a continuing resolution, meaning the government is operating on a limited budget. So while they're operating on that limited budget, there's a peak time for you as a small business to market to the agencies. And generally it's from October, I would say February or March. If anyone's been paying attention to the news, they did not pass the full budget until the end of March, which means it'll generally take a month for everyone to get their full funding. Right now, we're getting ready to enter in what we used to call in DC Christmas season, because I know between now and September, they have a very short window of getting rid of all of their money. So you have to be strategic in this space. Why federal contracts? Every year, SBA set goals with these agencies, meaning 23% are set aside just for you as a small business. 5% if you're woman-owned, 5% for small disadvantaged business, and they just recently increased the percentage for service-disabled veteran to 5%, and 3% if you're in the hub zone. And we're going to go into details about each of these programs. But what that means for you as a small business, the more certifications you have, the more you helping that agency to achieve their goals. As an example, if that agency award a contract to you for $100,000 and you're just a small business, that agency gets credit towards their goal. Now, if you're a small business and a woman-owned small business, that agency now gets $200,000 credit towards their goal. So the more goals that you have, the more you're helping those agencies achieve their goals. And SBA creates a scorecard. They just published the scorecard. So a lot of times, and what I show you as part of the program is how to leverage and look at these scorecards to determine which department or agencies, or how these agencies scored. And if they didn't meet their goals, then maybe that would be a department or agency I would target. And so when you look over here, it's a whole lot of money that's being spent, just one, and under small business set aside, but under this program as well, SDB, and we'll go into details about this program. That's the business that is really, in 8A, is really for minority-owned businesses. And you can see the amount of dollars that came into that program alone. And that goes back to that 15% that I showed you earlier with the president's executive order and trying to get that goal up to 15%. I also found this on the website. Actually, last night I was just updating the information, and so that we could really get a clear snapshot of what's going on in this government contracting world. And this is based on the fiscal year 2022. And so you can see who's playing where and who's not based on these different ethnic groups, other entities. So for me, part of the process of our program is you understanding the data. Data is how every company and corporations market. It's all based on the numbers and how they begin to target specific communities. And so you're going to use the same analogy when you're identifying federal contracts. Who's awarding in what program? I'm really happy here. Dawson Realty and Mortgage Company. She started with me when I was still at SBA, and there was a couple of them. We did a $1.5 billion webinar, session last week. But what I realized after speaking at this conference last week was what I helped those other three ladies on that panel was providing them with the blueprint, providing them with the foundation. Each one of them were successful in this space, but they each dressed up their house the way that they were comfortable with. So Labrisha, I'm very proud of her. Again, she won the $1 billion contract full and open without any of the small and business certifications. So we want to always applaud those that are out there doing the work. And again, she was listed as one of the top 10 contractors for last year. So I always like to show this report. This is a report that's issued by the Office of Inspector General. The reason I like to delve into these reports because the OIG is somewhat as a third party over these agencies and go in and evaluate to see how these agencies are operating, what's really going on. Now, is there any fraud or abuse? So they keep a good rein on all of these departments. But for me, when I looked at this report, it tells a story. It tells a story that as of 2021, and these numbers really have not grown that much more, even 3 years later, of the amount of firms that are in this particular program. And in this program, you can see that in 34 billion was awarded, that was 2020, and 11 billion was awarded in sole source contracts. Again, trying to go with the goal of the 15%. So what I did last night was drill down on Georgia because I'm here in Georgia, and you can do this by state and create these reports so that you can get a general idea of what agencies are awarding in this specific program and the dollar amount. So you see 1.4 billion just this fiscal year. I just started with October 1st of 2023, and we're still in fiscal year 24. Then I also drilled down here in Georgia because what I realized working at SBA and participating in a lot of small business government events, that a lot of businesses was coming here from DC and winning contracts. And there's no competition. I think the number has increased to 200 firms in this program. So when you're looking at this story, can somebody tell me what you are reading and what you're seeing? And these are contracts that were awarded for place of performance here in Georgia. What do you all see?
219 million for Georgia is what, in the top 4, top 3?
Mm-hmm.
That's outstanding.
That is, but my experience working at SBA and servicing businesses in this program, I had 40 businesses I was responsible for. Out of the 40, only 4 or 5 was truly winning contracts. Everybody else, they was just trying to understand the process, and they didn't really start winning their contracts until their 4th or 5th year of the program. So my goal is to make sure we're getting ahead of these contracts, because when you look here in Georgia, what federal agencies are here? Someone? Anybody?
We got a CDC. We got a couple Air Force bases, Moody.
You got 5 military bases.
Yeah.
So what you see, and again, this number will shift as we get closer to the end of the fiscal year, is the companies from Virginia, Maryland, and that DMV area tend to come down here and take over. Every industry event that I've gone through, even in the last 2 months, is infiltrated with a lot of DC firms coming here. It's not that much competition. Where up in DMV is almost 1,700 firms. And so I find it the same when you go across each state. And that's where I realized there was a problem. When I look at North Carolina, there's only 82 businesses in this program in the entire state. And I refuse to believe in the state of Georgia that we have more in our community that can apply into this program, but no one is really truly aware of the program when I'm even out asking them. So what I also did was take that 1.5 million $1.4 billion that has already been awarded, and then looked at, okay, how much of those dollars were coming from businesses out of state. So you can see now there's a significant difference and we're just halfway through this year. Have I lost you all, or are you still following along with me?
Still following.
Okay. So what I realized in working at SBA is that and their resource partners, so often they'll tell you to start locally and then get all these certifications, and you're not ready to compete on federal contracts. And that's something that I totally disagree with, because I never had a state or local contracts. And to me, it's easier to get a federal contract than the state and local, because you're having to compete with a larger pool of people. I can win a contract in California with the federal government. So this is the website where the opportunities are posted. And as I said, there's no need to pigeonhole yourself, because the government buys everything. Here you're seeing they're looking for nursing home services. I also pulled out this last night. This is an opportunity where the government just need high school banner placement. And this is the opportunity that's due May 31st. And as you can see, it's a total small business set aside. This is the industry, and this is where the contract, the place of performance for the contract. So when you're looking at the requirements and what they're looking for, do I need to have skill set in this, someone?
No, ma'am. This is right in my backyard.
What do you need? What would you do? Now, because you still have a whole lot of schools, right, to fulfill for 1 year. So what would you do?
You
Collaboration.
would contract with somebody locally,
Yep. There you
outsource
go.
them.
There you go.
Yeah.
Your project management. Now y'all acting like CEOs over there. I hear y'all. Here, this is another opportunity. So when you look at that initially, you think that would be for a hotel, would you not?
Yes.
But what they're looking for, and this is an opportunity, that's May 17th, and they haven't specifically determined how they're going to procure this opportunity. But all they're looking for is numbers. And here in the government, you're always going to have a point of contact. Right here, what they're telling you, they're going to issue you a purchase order to cover the cost. And then they say best value. The government awards contracts in various ways. They could have what they call a low price, lowest bidder, or fixed price, and that's how they're going to evaluate your cost. But when they put best value in here, what that's telling me is that they're not necessarily as concerned as much with the price as opposed to how you're managing pulling this together. That is more on your technical skill as opposed to what the cost of that proposal will be. And this right here, they hardly ever allow you to call them. So they say, call us if you got questions. And that's the way that you begin to establish relationships, because that's any business. It's all about relationships. Okay, those are opportunities that are currently active, that they're live and they're ready for you to submit bids. This particular opportunity, this particular PowerPoint is about the agency's forecast. And I love HUD because HUD updates their forecast every month and it's user friendly. And so when you click on this QR code, it's going to take you to their forecast. And so when you're looking at the forecast, this gives you an opportunity to get in front of that contract. Whereas on sam.gov, you're actively submitting bids. And it allows you to start to build those relationships before it comes out. So when you look over here, you can see here, these are new contracts. They're telling you the industry codes that they're using for this specific opportunity. They're telling you how they're going to compete it. They're telling you a value range, and they're giving you a point of contact. They're telling you when they anticipate those the solicitation to be issued and when the award date may be, as well as the length of this contract. So when they say a base plus option years, that means 1 year plus 2 option years. So this would be a 3-year contract, where this would be a 5-year contract. So in order for you to get in front of the contract so that you're not reacting, you're going to be trying to get as much information before it comes out. So you don't have that short time turnaround that they may request once it's awarded. So here they're talking about retirement plans.
Second way, grand achiever.
They're talking about retirement plans. So you can now reach out to Ms. Lawrence Wilson and start inquiring. Ms. Wilson, how many plaques do you anticipate you may need for this opportunity. Now I'm in a better position to go and negotiate and get 3 quotes and position myself for this contract when it comes out. Does that make sense to everyone?
Yes.
Yes.
And then over here where it says recompete, they give you a contract number. And at the end of this PowerPoint, I'm going to take you to these websites where you can actually go in and take this contract number and determine what the actual value is. Where it says recompete, that means there's someone else that's currently holding those contracts. So you can actually now get the dollar value and start seeing who you can team up with these contracts. Any questions, anybody?
Yes, how often when it's a recompete, how often do they hire the same person as opposed to getting somebody new?
But if it's in the 8A program, those companies will be graduating and they can't get that same 8A. Total small business, again, it's relationships. It's relationships. The government want to be able to trust you. They don't want to just, because if they award you a contract and you mess up on it, now they have something to clean up. So it's understanding what they're looking for and the rules of engagement. So how do we get into this game? I showed you sam.gov, but they also use sam.gov for you to self-certify as a small business. That database, I think that's your first test trying to get into this space, is completing and registering in this database. It still has a lot of bugs in it. And when it was issued, I was still at SBA and we called it such a mess, and it still is such a mess. But you can self-certify as a small business and as a small disadvantaged business. However, most agencies will use this program because once you are in the 8A program, you're automatically classified as a small disadvantaged business. The formal certifications, meaning where you have to submit applications and be approved by SBA, are these programs. The 8A program is a business development program. It's a program designed to help you be able to compete after you graduate from this program. It truly is a business development program, although people always think it's a contract program. Yes, it is a contract in many ways, but they're using the contracts to train you and help you to get the infrastructure so that you do survive after you graduate the program. The HubZone program is based on where your business is located. Women-owned is just what it is, and the service-disabled, veteran-owned is just what it is. For the 8A program, I talk about this program, but I don't necessarily push people into this program because what I saw working with 8A businesses, and you understanding this is the only program that's going to give you non-compete contracts to $4.5 million called a sole source. Did the church hear what I just said? Do I need to repeat that?
Yes.
I don't hear no excitement.
No, you don't need to repeat it. I get
sounds
it.
unbelievable. It does sound unbelievable.
Okay. All right, I just want to make sure you're still there. So this program is designed to build your business, and it's based on 2 components. Whether you're socially and economically disadvantaged, and I'll tell you what that means at the next slide, but it's a 9-year program that you're in. Again, that allows you to get access to these sole source contracts. And this is really what I saw in DC. That's why you have the most wealth in our community in that DMV area, because everyone was a government contracting and they built wealth through this program. The Hub Zone program, again, is based on where your business is located. As long as your business is located in an area that's designated as a hub zone and 35% of your employees live in a hub zone, then you can qualify into that program as well. For the 8A program, previously, before the lawsuit for the affirmative action last summer, you were qualified based on being a member of any one of these groups. Now they've changed the rule, and you now have to describe how you've been discriminated against and provide dates and times and provide details for that component of the program. They're looking for one or two. I have mixed feelings on this because it's still subjective. And what I saw and what was occurring last summer in helping some of the 8A firms draft their narrative, they're making us re-traumatize ourselves on how we've been discriminated against. Something is wrong there. The economic component of this program. SBA is going to look at your net worth. We'll look at your tax returns, and as long as your net worth does not exceed $850,000, you can qualify into this program. They're going to deduct any equity in your home and any equity in your business. So if you have a rental property, that's going to be the equity in those properties will be counted against you. Do I have any realtors online?
Present. Yes.
Yes.
For anyone that's trying for this specific program, they do not allow brokers or real estate agents. So what I tell those who are in that industry, you'll need to change on your tax returns the industry code. And the industry code is 541-611. That's the management consulting code. And if I can get you guys to remove that title, that's exactly what you're doing. It's project management. I've already changed your life in this moment, haven't I?
Yes.
That makes sense, huh?
Yes, ma'am.
Miss
Okay.
Paula, can you repeat the code again, please?
541-611. And if someone on the team could put it in the chat, that would be great as well. The other component that we don't really talk about, but for me, I want to talk about it because it's real talk. As it relates to this justice system. For those who have been affected by that justice system, this is another pathway for them to be able to come out and change their lives. They can start a business and apply for this program as well, as long as they're not on parole or probation and based on the type of crime. To me, this is a game changer because if you look at the prison system, hello, it's a for-profit entity with government contracts, and they're paying us $1 a day. Something is wrong. We need to change this game. The Hub Zone program again applies to purchases over $3,000. You must be certified by SBA. There's no term limits associated with this program. You recertify every year. And in this program, you also get the advantage of having competitive and sole source contracts as well. But the difference in this program and the 8A program and this program, the Hub Zone Women's and the Veterans Program have the same rule. And the rule for all of those other programs requires that the government have at least 2 businesses that are qualified to perform on that contract in order for them to do a sole source to one of the 2. That's what they call the rule of 2. You also get what they call a 10% price evaluation preference, meaning anyone who submit a bid that's outside of the program, the government's going to add 10% onto their costs. The 2 rules is your principal office must be in a hub zone and 35% of your employees must live in a hub zone. This is the map. If you put your address in, it's going to let you know whether or not you are located in a hub zone. If I'm a home-based business, someone, and I'm the only employee, could I qualify into this program?
Yes.
What makes you qualify? What makes you eligible?
No. Your
Yeah.
address?
Yeah.
You're the only employee of your business in that home. So you make the 35%. Huh?
That
You-
includes the 35%, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
There you go. And then here, just to give you a general idea, because we tend to think of the hub zone in the hood, but it's not necessarily in the hood. I put in where the Georgia District Office was located. And as you can see, it's downtown and it's near Marriott, Ritz-Carlton, all of the higher-end luxury hotels. But it is located in a hub zone. So what do you all think makes it a hub zone?
Something underutilized.
It's the homeless shelter. It's the homeless shelter.
Oh.
It's the homeless shelter.
income.
Yeah.
Can you have more than one office? Like if you want to do different states?
You can have definitely more than one office. I had one business that was 8A, and he had his corporate office in Cobb County. His hub zone office was in Columbus, Georgia, because that was where the greatest number of his employees reported. He had a contract at that military base. So understanding how you're going to be strategic in this space. For the women's program, this is the website that you go to apply for this program. I think, again, that's the challenge in all of these programs. The AA program, you apply under certified.sba. The Hub Zone program, that's another website. And then WOSB is where you're going to submit your application for this program. This program is broken into 2 components: economically disadvantaged and the WOSB. Once you apply for ED, you don't have to apply for the WOSB. The ED is primarily mirroring the 8A program, where it's going to be based on your net worth. This program really just came effective in 2020, and there's 3 ways that you can apply into the program. They do have a third-party certifier, which there's a fee associated with it. I tell, and part of our program, you self-certify your own. I mean, you apply the information your own self. I have people on our team, as well as myself, we know what they're looking for. And I'd rather you get comfortable in going in these databases and understanding what you're submitting, because in the end, you're the one that's going to be responsible for it, regardless of who you're having to do it for you. So if you use a third-party certifier, you're just providing them with the documents that you can upload yourself. The qualification must be 51% unconditionally managed by a woman, day-to-day operation, hold the highest office. There's ways to get around this normal working hours based on your industry. There's no minimal amount of time that the business have to be operational. The Veterans Program, that just, again, went under SBA, you get the same benefits of competitive and sole source contracts. And at VA, you get first priority. Every large prime contractor that receives any money from the federal government, they have to produce a subcontracting plan, how they're going to meet those goals. So that's a lot of times where those DBEs, all these other MEs are trying to meet, because any federal dollars that they receive, they have to meet subcontracting goals. So for me, I want everyone to start at the federal, get past performance as a prime, and then come down and be able to play on the state and local areas. But the Veterans Program, again, they just transferred all of this to SBA. Do I have any veterans online? All right. For those of you who know some veterans, again, we can get them engaged, and they can go to SBA's website, and they also, with that program, they're taking 2 weeks for you to become certified. On the women's program, unfortunately, I was told at the meeting last month, it's taking them a year to get your certification approved. SBA is understaffed. That was part of the problem that I saw at SBA. I had no time to do any business development with any of the businesses that I service. That was just not feasible. Just to break down so that everyone get a clear understanding of these different types of certifications. When you're looking and marketing to corporate, they're looking at these types of E's, MBEs, WBEs, BBEs. All of these are federal certifications. And then each state, regardless of what state you're in, will have these certifications. Indeed, the Department of Transportation will be the ones that would be processing those certifications. And then based on county or cities, they will have their own certification. And these are the ones that have costs associated with it. And these are the free ones. I'm going to take you all to some websites before I go into the program. Does anyone have any questions of what I just went over? No questions? Okay. I wanted you to get a visual. This is Miss Dawson. Her background, again, is in real estate. Her pathway, she stayed part of it in real estate, as well as doing other things and administrative management. So what we're helping you to do is create a business model. I like to say we're dressing you up so that you look like everybody else, because in this space, everybody is doing the same thing. So you can see what her business model has nothing, some of it has something to do with real estate, others don't. Here, this is another one of my successful firms. He's graduated from the program, but I just wanted you to get a visual of how we help you create these business models that necessarily one of these areas would be in your skill area or your expertise, but the other ones may not. Your goal as the CEO is to find the team members with the expertise. So just to give you a visual. Also, I wanted you to, this database. This is where all of your tax dollars are being traced. Anytime a contract is awarded, it's posted in this database, or it comes from another database called FPDS, but this is more user-friendly. And it tells you who, what, when, and where. So we help you create a strategy around this database because it tells you anything you want to know, what the agencies have awarded previously. But I wanted to provide you with an example of this young lady. You can see this contract, and this is what we try to encourage you to start targeting. These low-hanging fruits, those buys that are 250,000 and below. This was for like that lodging contract that I just showed you that's out now. The government, and you can see she's here in Georgia. It was a 3-month deal. She negotiated with the hotel. The hotel's cost was $48,000. She submitted her bid at $104,000. So she made what? Almost a $60,000 profit. And then when you look here, what do y'all see? Somebody see something here? Anybody?
A small business set aside, and also was only one person she was the only person that bid on it.
There you go. No competition.
Woo,
Wow.
amen.
That's just, and you can see it was set aside as a small business. So for me, my passion, my heart is that you learn the game first as a small business. Get your own systems, and then we teach you how to team and build these relationships with those that are playing in this space. I want you to be ready, understand the game. So when you're ready to submit that 8A application, which again is the pathway for our community's generational wealth, that you already understand the game on the outside and you've played with others that are in the program that are graduating. This is how the collaboration must come together. This is how we work together. Because we are going to be the only one really that's going to take care of our community and look out for our community. I'm going to leave that alone right there. But I wanted you to get a visual of how she started looking. They needed, what was this one? In Hawaii. This is the 5-year contract, right? She's here in Georgia. And I think this was for landscaping in Florida. Only thing she did is subcontract out, put her cost on there because you still have to manage the project. I hope I'm hitting home to somebody and y'all feel
Yes.
what I'm saying to you guys. We got to change our mindset. Her very first one was delivering porta potties. You see, this was a short period in Texas. And this is how we begin. And this one, well, she only had 2 on that one. This is how we've got to get engaged in this space. And in the end, we have not connected that this is our tax dollars. So for me, as that 25-year-old up in DC and sitting in those meetings while I was coordinating them, I realized, oh, this is how the game works. So I figured out a way to cut out the middleman and let the money come directly to me. My challenge was that I did not know enough business. I went from a project manager to running a multi-million-dollar company and did not have a clue what I was doing. I do not want anyone else to go through with what I did, what you don't know. You don't know what you don't know. And so in this space, everybody forever coming to me. They just want to get to the contract. Can you show me how to bid? And my opinion is you don't even know what you're getting into. You get the contract and you mess up, you out. Understand the rules of engagement when you're getting in this. And so when I created GPI, the vision was that um, teaching you the process and teaching you the language. Just like the slaves knew, we knew how to read and write. We can at least get ahead for the future. And it's the same thing here. I have 2,400, almost 2,500 people in this database. So when I was visioning this, the vision was there's no reason that we cannot begin to work together. So if I'm here in Georgia, I see a contract in California, then I know I can reach out to somebody because now part of the process, once you complete the program, you're putting this information in here. And my goal is to have the government come to us because now they have a whole pool of business that understand their language, understand what they're looking for. And now this is how we begin to change the game. Can I get an amen from the church?
Amen.
Amen.
Okay. Anybody have any questions before I get into what the workshop is actually about? No questions?
Miss Paula, I didn't have any questions, but I did want to make a comment on regarding the young lady who was the only one who applied to that one. So at the ACF conference this past week, the director of the SBA, one of the going themes that people were actually saying that, well, the procurement officers were saying is that those small contracts, you'll be very surprised how many people do not apply to it because the mentality is that, oh, it's only 200,000 or it's only 100,000. And they want people, they're actually begging people, please apply to whatever RFIs that you see, at least apply to it and respond to it. Because in a lot of other bigger contracts too, people are not responding.
Absolutely. And it's less, you can get those types of buys out quicker because they're not necessarily looking for a full-blown proposal. And you all aren't ready for no $1 million contracts anyway. I'd rather you start small, understanding the process, get your internal systems set up as you're winning those small buys. And 250, that's $1 million if I hit 5 of them. We have to think differently. Have strategy. So this program is broken into 18 weeks online where we have a live instructor. You're meeting once a week. You have homework and lab assignments. It is like school. You have midterms. Our goal is to walk you through the process. What I learned at SBA and working with a lot of the partners at SBA and these agencies, they are assuming that you understand their language. So they don't understand that small businesses have no clue of what they are asking for. They may say you all, as you just said, was that Crystal? As you just said, they want you to respond to RFI. Now you speak in government language. Well, we don't know what RFI is. And what does that really look like? So what I've done is created templates. I created templates from that first business so that you don't have to even think about what it should look like. The resource partners and working with them, they can tell you need an accounting system to play in this space, but they're not going to be able to tell you what should go in that accounting system. What should it be looked at? I mean, how should it look? So from that first business, I just created all these templates so you don't have to reinvent the wheel. Just follow the blueprint. Let's follow the blueprint. Blueprint has been very successful for 9 years here. The second module is all about putting you into teams, you understanding the legal agreements that you're going to need, you understanding how to work together, because At that stage, our trainers, we are the government. You cannot talk to us. You can't call us. You got to learn how to work it out because that's not my concern if your team member is not reaching out or doing their part. You still have to do the work regardless. So this is as real as it can get. Contract Ready, the third module, is all about the All Small Mentor Protege program, where we're helping you to create a strategy. And I created a business plan model that's specifically for 8A and the All Small Mentor Protege program. Everybody, again, always wants to start at the end. And that's why I make everybody start, regardless if you've been in business, you have to start at the beginning because you have to understand what SBA is going to be looking for, understanding the rules of engagement. We go through the Code of Federal Regulations. We help you understand how that applies to the federal acquisition regulations. So you understanding and have a solid foundation of the knowledge. The class is cost is $24.97. If you bring in a second person, that second person cost is $1,000. So we have a link on the website where you two can split the cost. My goal is to minimize the cost. In the end, I'm going to claim this, that the government is going to give us a contract so you all can get this for free, that they pay me to provide this, what I know is working. For anyone who was at the NARAB conference, because we are an affiliate of them, you all should have received a special discount code. If you have not, please email me at pwatts@gpiwin.com. The next class will start Wednesday from 8 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. Everything is recorded. We also have office hours on Tuesdays from 6 to 7 p.m. And that's when all the classes come together. I'm the one generally on the office hours. And then we have lab sessions on Thursday. So for those who may need additional assistance with completing their assignments. These are some of the templates that are provided as part of the program. When I started building out my team, it's the same thing that you all will be doing. You're trying to bring out your best players. And I needed people who's been in this game as long as I have and maybe have taken it a whole lot further. Mr. Farmer, he started with a company with 3 employees and helped build it up to almost 200 to 300 employees. And had it sold. I can't get you all there. I only got 15 million. And his space has been in DOD and IT. I work more so on the management consulting side, the professional service side. So my goal was to bring a whole mixture of a team. I have 3 people who have retired for SBA. They've been there 30, 40 years. They're the only ones that really, truly know SBA. I was only there 7 years, but I got just enough to be a little dangerous out here for you all. I also offer a self-pace. That's at your own pace. You still have access to the lab session and office hours and the templates. These are some of the deliverables that you will be completing for the first module. This is what we are looking for you to have by the time you complete that first module, that your business looks like you got it going on. It's not just you behind the scene. We're helping you to identify services, and through the exercises, you're going to determine what services you're going to offer and who do you know that have those skill sets you're looking for. We're not going to pigeonhole you into any industry. Your whole goal is to manage the business. This is some of the team projects that they've worked on. So everything we have is templates. You just follow the blueprint And this is a copy of my book called That's Crazy, Recognize Crazy and Run. And before I close out, if you have any questions, I wanted, because people are always worried about the dollar, the money. How does the money work? This is a contract that I submitted, and I came in second. I passed the technical, which is generally the hardest on this size of contract, but lost on the cost. I lost about $200,000. So how does this really work? How do I really get paid? How do I get paid as an owner? What is the benefit for me as that business owner? So in this contract, the government was setting me up to, this was to process all their grant applications. The person who previously had the contract approached me. They helped me with everything that you're getting to be successful. They helped me build out this cost for this large proposal, which was a $29 million contract for 5 years. In here are all positions. So I'm hiring all of these positions for the government to cover managing this contract for 5 years. Over here, you can see the hourly rate that I'm charging each of the people that are in these positions. You can see each year the government allows me to give everybody a raise. The government also understands that it costs me to hire these employees. I'm giving them fringe benefits. I get fringe benefits. Everybody gets fringe benefits. So I have to have my accounting system set up to capture these dollars because I'm billing the government back those costs. And then there's another pool of money, overhead, that the government's going to reimburse me for, because now I'm housing employees. I have to pay rent. Part of my salary has to be covered as the owner. And other positions may be covered under overhead. So now the government's going to reimburse me my overhead costs. And then over here is the pass-through. This is money in, money out. Pass through. And then here is another pool because the government's going to reimburse me. Since I have so much of a pass through, I had to hire a bookkeeper for all the travel costs. So her cost was $80,000. Her salary come out of there. Part of my salary came out of there. Part of the partner's salary come out of that. So after it was all said and done, said and done, this was the total contract per year on that contract. Had I won, this would have been my profit. This would have been what I would have taken home at the end of that contract. And every time I look at this hurts my feelings, but I'm doing it for the good. But I wanted you to get a visual of how we begin to play in this space and get generational wealth. Amen. The church is over. I know I ran over a little bit. Does anybody have any questions?
Yeah, I guess in the program we'll learn all those numbers and how to set stuff up, and
Yep, everybody starts at the same place.
And if you are doing a service now under an LLC, when you get in the program, it's a mess. Like, would somebody be able to just look at where you are and say, okay, you need to do this, this, and this? Because being familiar with it is one thing, but I don't, what do you do with it? How do you?
That's where everybody starts at the same place. It is really building blocks. And what happens is everybody, regardless of their industry, tend to overwhelm themselves and overthink. And each week we're giving you a piece of the puzzle. And once you finish, you're going to have this big, nice pie, and it begins to make sense. If I, and people have asked, you think about it, it's 18 sessions, hour and a half. What's that? What's that? Almost 36 hours. Could you do this in a week? There's no way. You have to be able to process what you're learning. I hope that answered your call, your question.
Yes, yes, and also, is it monthly sign up or how does that work?
What
Well,
do
I
you-
mean, like I know you're taking people for May. Will there be a class in August or will there be a class?
Yeah, it may be, yes, June and then August. And in order for us to start a class, we have to have a minimum of 15 people. And then I cap it at 25 to make sure that it remains intimate. We're very hands-on, we're very customer service driven. Also, through our registration site with PayPal, PayPal has a 6-month no interest financing program to assist with that. Any other questions? Can I? Mhm.
I just have one question. Is a link going to be provided to sign up?
Yes, they should have provided it in the website, someone on the team. Or you can go to my website. I also encourage you, because part of our creed is each one teach one. And once folks start winning, regardless of what the size is, they have to come back and share. We can no longer hold the knowledge. So I bring out everyone back. I bring out others who've been very successful in this space. He has about 320 employees, and everyone's keeping it real. We talk about financing. This young man, he came back and spoke to our community. It becomes a true community, and that we all become understanding how we leverage each other, and it's too hard to do this by yourself. Any other questions?
Yes, I have a question.
Yes,
Would you be able to start from scratch, having no business at all, and
absolutely.
creating an LLC and all of that? Like that
Absolutely.
foundation would be laid. Okay.
Absolutely, because half of those who have the LLC, truth be told, my experience over 9 years, they don't have their stuff together. They don't have the paperwork together, because somebody just told them, go get an LLC, go get a corporation. But for me, it's more you understanding the business side as well as the contract side, understanding why you're choosing the LLC. I was an LLC, and then I went to S corporation, and then a C corporation, and that was not good. I should have stayed at LLC because of the tax benefit. Because in the end, that's what this is about. It's all being in business is all about the taxes. And I really learned that during those grant applications, because in our community, we love to start a nonprofit. We're very passionate about serving, but you can't make no money serving. And nonprofits, that's the grant side. So once I understood the grant side, I started a nonprofit in my father's name, because grants are geared towards serving the community. So I knew when my for-profit started making money, I could dump it into that nonprofit as a tax write-off, as well as get grants under that nonprofit. So now I'm getting money from both sides. That makes sense?
That's beautiful.
Gorgeous.
Yes.
Gorgeous.
Miss Paul, I have a question regarding the self-paced online learning
Yes.
module you have. I see that it has the videos and all of that, but as far as the weekly office hours and the weekly lab sessions, how long are those? Are those an hour or two? Or what?
Wow. 1 hour.
1 hour, okay, okay. Will those be with you or one of your,
That's with me. I'm online from 6 to 7
okay, okay.
every Tuesday, unless I do take a vacation. I'm trying to get like y'all. I'm trying to get where I'm teaching y'all. I'm trying to be a true CEO. Y'all can just call me.
I
Huh?
love your spirit. Amen, amen.
Miss Paula,
Paula.
one last question. Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry too. Miss Paula, is this Central Standard Time, Eastern Standard Time, or what time are you online? What
Eastern.
time zone? Excuse me.
It's Eastern,
Eastern.
and
Thank you.
everything is recorded. So even if you miss a week,
Okay.
you're able to go back and review.
My question is just once a week for 18 weeks, correct?
That is correct. And you should expect to spend at least 2 to 3 hours outside of the classroom.
Okay.
You're really doing work. And in order for you to get it, you have to do the work. That's your business.
Okay. And
I love Stacy, what she's done with her child. Again, she has a 29-year-old and a 23-year-old. And the 23-year-old is currently going through the program. And she told her mom, she said, Mom, if the old people would just do the homework, they would get it.
and Miss Watts, one last question. Is it every Wednesday?
It is.
Okay.
Okay. So can I get some takeaways? I need 3 takeaways.
Change my mindset.
Amen.
I've definitely learned that, like someone just said, with the mindset is the skill set. Like I started my LLC thinking that I was going to bring what I've been doing in my career all this time and bring it into this space, but you're absolutely right. I'm more than that. I have so many other skills under my belt, and I do need to think outside the box and push myself outside my comfort zone. And so I'm ready for that. So thank you.
Okay.
I think another takeaway is a lot of times in business, you're trained to think that you have to compete against each other. I love this platform that we work together. And yeah, it's great. You can always work together.
Yeah, I think about it. Yeah, think about it. When did we have the most wealth? What era?
Before integration.
There you go.
Yes.
Well,
Social wealth too, family wealth, all of that.
so we had no other choice. So I'm going old school again because again, my father was one of the first Black police officers in my town.
Wow.
And he ended up suing them. He was bad. He was a juvenile police officer, and he got promoted to becoming a sergeant. They demoted him. He sued them. He won. Then he retired and became a city council and saw that he needed land. He found land by the projects and saw the kids needed a park. So he got it funded, and we have a park in his name. So for me, this is more what I know, and I stand on all of us. We stand on shoulders before us. And I think we done messed it up real bad. Not because I think it was systematic. It was meant.
Yes.
It wasn't because we ordained all of this. It was all a plan.
Mhm.
All right.
I do have one more question, if you don't mind, real quick. Just like a lot of times when I hear about the contracts, I hear certain areas, and I hear the same areas all over again. Like I hear a lot of Virginia, Georgia, those states. But how about somewhere like New York? I'm sure there's stuff that goes on. I just
Look, since y'all here, I know I'm over. I'm always conscious of people's time. But I want y'all, that's why I say I knew there was a problem. In here is where the agency, this is what you'll learn in class. This is where they go. So when I look at New York, the entire state of New York, right? How many businesses in the 8A program? How many women own?
80. And no, that's joint venture. Hold on.
No, that's 8A.
49? Oh, 80.
Okay.
Okay.
80, yes.
in the entire state.
Wow.
Wow.
New York City, nothing, no Brooklyn, what?
69.
Huh?
Wow. Wow.
Say what? So that's why I said I had to come out. Out so that we can really impact communities in the state of North Carolina. Right? What's in North Carolina? How many
72.
military bases in
HBCU.
Fayetteville.
Camp Lejeune, all on the East Coast? That's where I went to school. Jacksonville, Raleigh, Environmental Protection Agency. So we got to get in the game. Something is wrong.
Yeah.
Something is wrong.
Can we see Texas real quick?
Texas is pretty high because you have my Latino brothers in city, brothers out there. They understand the game. They work together.
That's right.
We don't. You see, they high up there. We don't. Something's wrong.
So, Miss Paula, so like how you gave an example of New York City, that means that these are the businesses that are registered in New York City, right?
That's New York State, not city.
Oh, New York. Okay, so if you did want to compete in some place like New York State, you would have to have a business registered in New York State.
No, ma'am.
Okay.
No, ma'am. That's the beauty of federal. If you're doing business with New York County, yes, they may require, but the federal, I can win a contract and be in California. The contract's in California.
Our United States is our playground.
That's the advantage of this.
What's the learning curve? I know it's 18 weeks, but I'm just curious. Like on average, let's say you do the 18 weeks. What's the learning curve usually of somebody on average getting their first contract?
This is the foundation. After folks graduate from GPI, they go to Attorney Chandler. She does the bidding on steroids. She don't want to do what I do. I'm preparing y'all for her because she's now walking you through submitting 10 bids in a month. You're meeting 3 times a week. And it's pretty intense, but we've had people winning and getting callbacks right in the course. Our goal is to get you there, but I don't guarantee it because life happens. And that's not fair for me to gauge on people who have things that happen. My completion point, how I know my success is, people are applying, I see them out there, they're networking, and they're winning. So 6 months to a year, you have to be committed. Anyone that was at the conference last weekend Stacey talked about she sacrificed. She went from making $600,000 a year, paying herself $150 to living off her savings for like $20,000 a year. But if you're hungry, it's there. It's there, and we're here to support you. Our goal is to change the game for your grandchildren and their children. That's my game.
Ms. Paula, one last thing, please.
Yes, ma'am.
For those of us who are already in SAM, we did our applications and we're just a little gun shy, you know. Shall we? You've heard this all before, I know.
Go ahead, I'm listening.
And some even have certifications and stuff. We've done nothing.
That's why. There's a reason.
Yes, ma'am.
That's why I have everybody start at the same place.
Yeah.
Probably not even register right in there. Because you don't know what you don't know. You probably registered based on your skill set. And I'm expanding your skill set.
Yes, ma'am. Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes. Yes.
You're the perfect example that I used to see at SBA. They don't spend 6 months. They told me they don't get registered in SAM. I got my capability. I got the certification. Now what? Nah, it's more than that.
Miss Lisa, I'm so glad you said that before me because I'm in the exact same situation.
Like, we have a driver's license, but we're not going nowhere.
That's right. That's right. And Miss Paula, I'm in Louisiana, so I know we have even worse, even less problem in registered agencies in than North Carolina.
Oh, and that's what I'm saying. I'm planting seed. I'm trying to take over.
Amen, amen.
We taking over county by county, state by state. This is my own little whatever. But
Miss
as
Paula, you say your next class was May?
May
May.
15th, next Wednesday.
Is it already booked up?
No, we still have openings. I'm trying to fill it up. And again, that's why I'm even doing the two. Just get in. In the end, the goal is that you get this repaid shortly. That's on you, how hungry you are to get a return on your investment.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Yeah, okay.
And it
And-
includes marketing. That's part of the.
Huh?
I mean, in the training, we also go over marketing. Like Miss Dawson has a beautiful website.
Oh yeah, that's part of the first module. That's why I say y'all getting dressed up so you can go talk to folks. Y'all not dressed up yet.
You gonna make this Easter Sunday.
Yeah, I'm looking raggedy right now.
Y'all got dressing you up for the prom. Y'all don't even know how to date. Don't even know what you asking for.
Miss Paula, excuse me, I just have a quick question.
Yes, ma'am.
Before, the SBA had a collaboration with a program called SCORE, which are retired executives. Do they still have that collaboration? That's still part of the SBA?
Yes, I was a SCORE counselor. And what I realized being a SCORE counselor for 2 years was they were older Caucasian male who never run a business. It was retired executives, so they couldn't help you. So even then, I would see our community coming in there and they're telling them, you can't do this. And I'm pulling them aside. Come on over here. Let me tell you what you can do. Because nobody was teaching this. And I was trained by the best up in DC on this game and saw it myself, felt it. My mentor got in 6 years. He sold his business for $27 million. That's generational wealth. That's where I'm trying to get you all to see. What's the end goal? So Stacy training her children, that's her generational wealth. Labricia and Tanisha, who was also on that panel, both of them, I told them, when you start at your peak, buy a building. Both of them bought a building because now you're allowing the contracts to pay for the building. It makes sense.
Yes, that makes sense.
Yes.
That makes sense. Huh? Nobody's giving us the game. This is the real deal. But again, I don't promise anything. I'm just giving you the blueprint, and you have to carry on and bring your children in. They need to see us in a different role. That's what made me successful because that's all I saw in DC. But if we just see mom and dad are just going to work and struggling and getting mad at whatever, and understanding you don't have control when you working for someone else.
Right.
Even me at SBA, that was a secure job, right? They had me good benefits. But for me to get to $100,000 in salary, that was going to take me 15 years. That it made no sense to me.
Right.
So,
Ms. Paula,
huh?
Sorry, I just wanted to say that you're absolutely right. My SCORE mentor is a retired Caucasian male, and he suggested that I start subcontracting as a way to get in the door.
Those are options as well. He's correct on that. There's different ways but we're just giving you all your options, not letting it's no one way in this.
Okay.
Miss Paul, I have a question real quick. I just that was my mom that asked a question about the score. We do own a good bit of land, over 100 acres in South Georgia. And I just want to know, in your experience, have you seen any federal contracts with the USDA?
You'll do that research.
Mhm.
We're gonna give you all the website. That USA spending I showed you,
Mhm.
that's the secret sauce to the Kentucky Fried Chicken. Where you're gonna create a marketing strategy. Everything's in there. Anything you want to know is in those databases. That's what sets and peace.
Okay.
All right. Well, you guys, it's 11 o'clock. Prayerfully, you all will join the community, and I hope to see you on Wednesday.
Thank you so much. You gave a wealth of information just in this short period of time. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
Have a good one.
You
Thank
too.
you.
Have a good one.